Hello Pisces, and welcome to your Lunar Cycle Insight video that begins with the New Moon Solar Eclipse in Leo on the 11th of August and completes with the New Moon in Virgo on the 9th of September. I'm recording these videos and I can't believe that we are almost nearly at September, nearly at yet another equinox point, another turn of season. It's an interesting energy. It feels like this summer has been long and arduous with all of the retrogrades and intense energies, yet over in an instant. So I am calling this lunar cycle, this 4-week period from new moon to new moon, the great unwinding, because this is where we can really start to see the results of all of the hard work we've been doing, both internally and externally. During this cycle, 3 heavenly bodies will station direct: Mercury, Saturn, and Mars. So a lot of the work that we've been doing will now begin to be rewarded. We'll begin to see some results. So we begin this lunar cycle with this new moon solar eclipse in the 6th house of your birth chart, Pisces. And Mercury has been retrograde here since last month. And we also had that beautiful, intense Aquarius moon opposing the sun here at the end of July as well. So this has been a area of transformation in your birth chart for quite a few weeks now, and this Leo eclipse can bring the issues you've been working with to a head and offer you a new beginning. So the 6th house of the birth chart relates to Virgo. It relates to the small details, the practicalities, the more mundane aspects of life, you know, the things that we need to maintain and take care of while we're here in a physical body. Not so easy for you who likes to float off into the cosmos, into the ether. So this can be a really grounding energy for you, Pisces, when the 6th house is activated. Your attention is called to the things that you need to declutter from your life. It calls you to purify your body, your mind, your soul. It focuses your intention on your health and sacred self-care. You know, quite often when we have 6th house transits, we are decluttering our home. You know, we are perhaps starting a new, healthy, cleaner way of eating. Perhaps we're eliminating some allergens from our diets, or you know, doing a deep detox. Perhaps we're starting a new exercise regime. You know, perhaps our body is speaking to us. It's giving us messages about where we need to slow down, where we might need to let go of certain things that are draining our time and energy. It's a moment of really learning how to be more productive in your creative endeavors, to be more organized and structured in the Leo areas of life. So, you know, managing your energy, managing your creative projects, managing your relationships. Perhaps there are things that need to be cleared, that need to be purged from these areas of your life before you can truly activate this new beginning. So if you've been quite frustrated, you know, perhaps there's some creative work that you've been trying to birth into the world. You know, perhaps you've been trying to reorganize your finances and the way you make money in the world, because Leo also rules over abundance and, you know, the golden gifts of the goddess as well. So perhaps there has been a restructuring that's been going on many levels. Perhaps you have been called to change the ways in which you offer service to the world. The 12th and 6th house axis, which has been illuminated for you, is all about the gifts of service. So is the service you're giving to other people, because we know that you are a giver, Pisces. Is that truly aligned with your authentic soul desires, or is your infinite compassion calling you to give inappropriately? Perhaps there needs to be some recalibration around give and take, and this can be quite a large theme for you this month, because the full moon and the new moon, will have a full moon in Pisces on the 26th and a new moon in Virgo on the 9th, will both be falling on this service and sacrifice axis as well. And you know, it's really going to be asking you to balance the spiritual and the practical, the ethereal and the mundane this month. So the new moon offers you the opportunity to make a fresh start in these areas of your life. So all of the ideas and, you know, inspirations you've had about making changes, you know, this will be the time for you to start to activate them in your life. And as Mercury stations direct here on the 19th of August, you will start to see the results of the work that you have been doing to clear the clutter from your life, to, you know, set a good schedule, to value your time and energy. You know, all of the effort that you've been putting in will now start to manifest tangibly in the world. And on the day that Mercury stations, which can be quite a sticky day because he's at a standstill in the heavens, so it often takes a while for the Mercury retrograde energies to really smooth out. It's not instantaneous. It takes him a few days to pick up speed, and then it takes him a while to move out of his shadow period. So on this day that could be a little bit intense, a little bit overwhelming mentally, we will also have Jupiter and Neptune coming into a trine again. And you might remember this energy, it was very active. There was a grand water trine forming between Jupiter and Neptune and Venus and the Sun as they move through the sign of Cancer around the solstice period this year. So it's a reactivation of that energy, although it's not as, you know, deeply emotional because we don't have any planets in Cancer at this time, but still it's a beneficent energy that, you know, kind of smooths the stormy waters of Mercury station. And of course Neptune is your ruling planet, your modern ruler. Jupiter is your ancient ruler, so this is extra beneficial for you, Pisces. And this trine will be falling from Jupiter in Scorpio in your 9th house to Neptune in Pisces in your 1st house. So this is a really beautiful time for people to see your wisdom, to see your light, Pisces, to see the beauty of your soul. This is a time when you can be rewarded for all of that beautiful compassion that you offer to everybody else. Perhaps there will be some new spiritual insight or teaching that you become aware of that can really support your work in the world. You know, the 9th house is the house where we teach and share our wisdom. The 1st house is where we express ourselves. So this is a beautiful opportunity for you to share all of those gifts that you have with the rest of the world. Perhaps you'll come to recognize that you do have a lot to offer, Pisces. And there is, for all of us, a beautiful amount of spiritual inspiration, of higher unconditional love that can come through during this time. So that's a beautiful energy to be working with as Mercury stations. So on the 23rd, the energy will really start to shift as we kind of move out of the fiery Leo energies and the Sol Star moves into Virgo. So he will be leaving your 6th house, and moving into your 7th. So this is a time of the year for you, Pisces, when you really start to recognize the impact that your relationships have on you. It's where you really start to recognize the other people in your life as a mirror of what might need healing within you. And as the Sun will be, you know, coming up to oppose Neptune, there can be again an element of that, you know, looking at where you are serving and sacrificing your own needs to please other people. We've also going to have Venus moving through your 8th house of deep soul intimacy in the sign of Libra this month as well, and you know, creating some tense aspects with Pluto and Saturn. So it could be a time where there's a lot of work that needs to be done around relationship. Perhaps there are some conversations that need to be had. Perhaps there's some sharing that needs to happen. Perhaps you need to work to renew your bonds of intimacy with others. Perhaps, you know, you have to go there and have the uncomfortable and difficult conversations to bring healing. Perhaps there are some old memories or fears around betrayal or, you know, mistrust that are coming up for you at this time. If you are single Pisces, this can be a time when you are really drawn to seek out relationship, to seek out merging with the other. It can be a time when you're, you know, attractive to other people as well. So it can be a month where you do call in a partner too, particularly as the Sun, as he moves into Virgo, is going to create an Earth trine. He's going to be coming into trine with Saturn in your 11th house and Uranus in your 3rd house. And these are the social, active air houses of the birth chart. So this is the time when you can meet new people. You know, you can make connections that are, you know, long-term and sustainable, because we're dealing with the solid, practical, grounded element of Earth here. So, you know, perhaps it will be a love interest, or perhaps it will be a business partnership, or a new friendship, or a connection that somehow really enriches your life and helps you to fulfill your potential. We'll all be reaping the rewards of our hard work this season, Pisces. But for you, you know, you really look out for gifts that come through other people, that come through your social networks and circles and groups. The full moon is in your sign on the 26th of August. So this is a beautiful full moon that really brings closure to the eclipse season. It's the culmination of the energies that were initiated at the beginning of this lunar cycle with the Leo eclipse. So this can be a time of really washing away any emotional residue that you might be holding on to. It can really be a time of letting go. Pisces is the sign of dissolution. It's the cosmic ocean. So whatever we're still holding on to, particularly in the areas of self-worth and self-identity that isn't serving us, this can be a time when we can let it go. It can be an emotional time, particularly for you as a water sign and you know, naturally attuned, being a Pisces yourself. So this can be a moment of emotional release for you. Perhaps there will be some tears or some emotional expression that needs to happen for you around this time. Perhaps there's something else that you need to let go of. But this isn't so much a erratic, chaotic letting go as the ones that we've already experienced over the past couple of weeks. This is more of a gentle, soothing washing away. And like I said, this energy is really highlighting your relationship with yourself and your relationship with others. So it's a time of bringing that back into balance for you and being really discerning about how much you're giving and to whom, because you are that sign that's naturally geared to serve. So we want to make sure that we're doing that from the heart space and not from a space of feeling overwhelmed or feeling like we have to, feeling obligated. So Mars will be stationing direct. So hooray, you know, a long, intense summer. We've been working with Mars retrograde, and he spent most of his retrograde period in your 12th house, where that big Aquarius lunar eclipse was. So he's been working with you on a really subconscious level, asking you to detach yourself from subconscious fears, from old karmic ties. Perhaps Pisces, you have been spending a lot of time internalizing, of clearing, of shedding, of purging on the emotional and spiritual levels. So Mars will station direct in the sign of Capricorn, where he will move back into on the 12th of August, just after the first eclipse. And he'll be going over the same degrees of Capricorn that he was going over in March, particularly the 11th to the 16th of March. And during that period, he would have been in your 11th house. So we might be revisiting some issues here around friendships, groups, networks, online connections, and your big goals and visions for the future. So things have been very, very slow in that area, not seeming to move forward, or you feel like there's still some work to do. This is the time when things can start to become more clear. We can kind of pick up where we left off before we entered this intense tunnel, this intense period of change and recalibration. So Mars will be moving direct, and everyone will feel their energy, their motivation, their drive returning. And for you, you know, he will re-enter the 12th house on the 10th of September. So for you, you know, you're not going to so much feel that huge boost of energy that other signs might feel who are experiencing it in, you know, in the fire or earth houses. But you know, there will be a steady increase in energy. And when Mars comes into your sign later in the year, you know, that will be your moment of, you know, power and passion. But still now, you know, you're in the last phase of your Mars cycle as he moves through your 12th house. So there may still be some old issues that need to be worked through, but it will be much easier for us to do that with him in forward motion. So we move into September at this point, and hooray, Saturn stations direct as well. So this is a really exciting period, and this is also going to be in your 11th house. So again, you know, it's that all of those dreams and visions for the future that you've been putting your energy into, you know, perhaps you've had to sacrifice some friendships or connections in order to really step into your purpose. Perhaps, you know, you're not resonating with your old groups and circles in the way that you have been, your old friends in the way that you had been, and you've had to let some people go, and you might be feeling a little bit isolated, a little bit lonely. And Saturn now moving direct, you can start to really call forward a new soul tribe. You know, perhaps there'll be some karmic connections that will, instead of draining your energy, that will help you to start to build those dreams and visions in a more tangible way. You know, the pathway will be smoother. You know, you'll be able to continue laying the foundations for success at this point. You know, things that have been held back, you know, things that have took a lot of effort and energy will now start to flow. On the 9th of September, we complete this cycle with a Virgo new moon in your 7th house. So again, it's that focus on balance, on harmony, on partnership. So this can be a new beginning in relationships. This can be a time of setting your intentions, stating your desires around what you truly wish to cultivate in your partnerships and connections, Pisces. So for those of you who are single, you know, maybe set the intention for the kind of partner that you would like, if you would like one. If you are in a partnership, perhaps this is the time for a new beginning, a kind of rebirth around how you behave in relationship to another. So again, perhaps draw those boundaries. Perhaps, you know, there are some practical details that need to be tended to in the relationship. And this is opposite Neptune as well, this new moon, Neptune in your sign. So this can also be a time where the blinders come off, because Pisces and I'm a Pisces rising myself, and you know, quite a Piscean Neptunian person, and we have a big tendency to look at the world and other people through rose tinted glasses. You know, we see the potential, we see the divinity in people, we don't necessarily see the truth. So around this time we could find ourselves, you know, having to face up to people as they truly are. Maybe we'll have to make some adjustments, some disconnections, some different ways of interacting with those people that perhaps are more draining in our lives. So it's a time to reflect on yourself in relationship to the other. And that will bring closure to this cycle for you, Pisces. And, you know, this time we will be really reaping the rewards, reaping the karmic bounty from the seeds that we've sowed and we've been tending since the beginning of the year. So, like I've been saying to all of the signs, open yourself up to receive. Allow yourself to know that you deserve the opportunities, the relationships, the connections that are being offered. And I picked a card for you, Pisces, and these cards are from the Mythic Oracle. Very old card deck of mine based around Greek mythology, and just looking for the author. So these are by Carissa Millardo, and the art is by Michelle Lee Feenan. And the card that I picked for you is Perseus, Courage. And we can see in the corner of this card here is Medusa, the ancient serpent goddess, who in Greek mythology was much maligned. She was actually a very, very ancient Amazonian snake goddess, but the Greeks turned it into a gorgon who could turn men to stone just by looking at them. So Perseus actually faces Medusa and defeats her by using his shield to look at her reflection rather than looking at her with his eyes. And this card, and you know, Medusa in general, the snake goddess, can be a lot to do with facing our fears, facing our shadows. And it's interesting in the story of Medusa, when Perseus does actually take her head off, Pegasus, the winged horse, the bringer of inspiration, actually leaps out of her neck. So this card is a reminder that when we face our fears about moving forward, about opening up to new avenues, when we face our shadows, when we face those unconscious parts of ourselves, which you have been doing, Pisces, with the illumination in your 12th house, that new inspiration, new life can be born. But it's an important reminder, because you are a sign that can sway towards light polarization, and like I mentioned, seeing the beauty in everything, that the shadow is just as important as the light. It's not something that we need to be fearful of. It's a natural cycle of life, something interesting to bear in mind as we go into the darker half of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere. Anyway, Medusa is your ally this month, Pisces, or our ally this month. Thank you so much for listening to me, Pisces. If you enjoy this video and you enjoy my work, you can find me on Facebook. The links are below, and you can also contact me for readings if you would choose to do so. I'm sending you so much love and blessings of abundance for this lunar cycle.